The galaxy had forgotten the name of Earth. It had been 300 years since humans were seen among the stars. In that time, their colonies were wiped away, their homeworld burned, and their voices silenced. The Galactic Council declared it a necessary act, a measure to prevent chaos, as they called it. They erased humanity's record from every archive, leaving only faint whispers in forbidden data cores. For generations, alien historians spoke of humanity as a warning. They were clever, they said. They were dangerous. Some described humans as dreamers who reached too far. Others called them troublemakers who refused to bow, yet no one truly knew the full story anymore. The truth had been buried beneath fear and politics, and so, when a strange fleet appeared at the edge of the Orion expanse, many refused to believe what they saw. The fleet shimmered in dark space, not built like the cold metal of other species, but alive with light and movement. Each ship carried the same insignia, a blue sphere surrounded by silver wings, the symbol of humanity. Captain Rhea Solon stood at the bridge of the flagship Resolute Dawn. Her eyes were calm, but her mind carried the weight of history. Around her, the command deck buzzed quietly with officers in dark Navy uniforms. The crew worked in silence, each movement precise and practiced. They were the children of the lost Earth, survivors' descendants raised in hidden colonies far from the Council's eyes. "Status?" she asked softly. "Fleet is in formation, Captain," replied her second-in-command, Lieutenant Haru Den. "No response from the nearby systems yet. Long-range scanners show a Council outpost within 2 parsecs. Rhea nodded. "Let them see us. It's time they remember." The stars outside glittered like cold diamonds. Rhea looked at them and thought of the stories her grandmother once told. Stories of oceans, forests, and blue skies. None of them had ever seen Earth, but they carried its image in their hearts. Humanity had survived in silence, building new worlds, learning from old mistakes, waiting for the day they would return, not for war, but for truth. The outpost that detected them belonged to the Thalkir Dominion, one of the 11 races that once formed the Council. Its commander, an elder named Varn, watched the readings in disbelief. His 3 golden eyes widened as he read the name appearing on his screen. United Human Systems. "This cannot be," Varn muttered. Humans were erased. Their world was dust. A young officer stepped forward nervously. "Should we report to the Council?" "Yes, immediately." Varn's voice trembled. Tell them the ghosts of Earth have returned." Within hours, the entire Galactic Council knew. On the shining world of GalacticPrime, leaders of powerful species gathered in the Grand Chamber. The room was a circle of glass and metal, floating high above the city. Each representative sat on a hovering dais, their voices echoing through the air. The Zorith delegate clicked his mandibles angrily. "Humans, impossible. We destroyed their fleets ourselves." A tall, feathered being from the Varl Dominion spoke softly. "Yet the readings are real. A fleet has appeared near Orion. Their signals are clear. Their language matches old human code." Murmurs filled the chamber. Old fears resurfaced like shadows. Finally, Counselor Merith, a wise and ancient being with eyes of pure light, spoke. "If they have returned, then we must decide how to respond. The galaxy cannot afford another war." The word war hung in the air like a storm cloud. Back aboard the Resolute Dawn, Rhea Solon stood before a large holographic screen. Her officers had connected the ship's systems to transmit a message across the galaxy, a message that could not be ignored. "Captain, communication lines ready," Haru reported. Rhea took a deep breath. "Send it." A moment later, her voice echoed across star systems, reaching every Council station and outpost. "This is Captain Rhea Solon of the United Human Systems," she began. Her tone was calm but firm. 3 centuries ago, your Council declared humanity extinct. You erased our history, destroyed our homes, and silenced our voices. But you failed to understand one thing: humanity endures. We do not vanish. We rebuild. The chamber on GalacticPrime fell silent as her words reached them. Every screen in the galaxy showed her face. Human, determined, unafraid. "We do not come seeking revenge," Rhea continued. "We come seeking justice and the truth that was buried. The galaxy may have forgotten us, but we have not forgotten the promise of peace you broke." When the transmission ended, the Council chamber erupted in noise. Some shouted in panic, others in disbelief. "What do they want?" demanded the Zorth delegate. They say they want justice, Marath replied. But justice for what? We all agreed on the purge. It was necessary. The word made even some council members flinch. The purge. That was what they had called it long ago. Rhea turned away from the screen, her expression unreadable. Haru stepped closer. Do you think they will listen, Captain? They will have to, she said, because the truth is coming whether they want it or not. The Resolute Dawn and its sister ships began moving toward the central trade routes. Wherever they went, old sensors flickered to life, showing the impossible. The return of humans. Merchants, travelers, and explorers from other species whispered in awe. Humans, the lost race? Some were afraid, but others were curious. The stories of human courage, and the ones hidden or denied by the Council, began to spread again. Far away on a quiet moon orbiting a red star, an old historian named Ral 10 sat among dusty archives. He was one of the few who had dared to keep records of ancient human history, hidden from the Council. When he saw the broadcast, tears welled in his eyes. They lived, he whispered. After all this time, they lived. He opened an old data crystal marked with a single word: Earth. Inside it was a video file from centuries ago, showing humans walking under blue skies, children laughing, oceans moving under sunlight. The sight of it felt like a memory of life itself. Ralten smiled weakly. Maybe now, he said softly, the galaxy will finally remember who they truly were. The Galactic Council could not stay silent. An emergency meeting was called, this time with millions watching. The council chambers were brighter than ever, but the tension was heavy. Councillor Marath spoke first. The humans have returned. They claim they seek truth and justice. We must decide how to address them, as allies or as threats, the Zorth delegate hissed. If we welcome them, they will expose our history. The galaxy will know what we did, Marath replied calmly. Perhaps it is time the galaxy knows. Perhaps it is time we face what we buried. Meanwhile, on the Resolute Dawn, Rhea gazed at a small silver pendant in her hand, shaped like a planet, half blue and half green. Her grandmother's pendant. The only piece of Earth she had ever known. Her thoughts wandered. Humanity had always been both fragile and strong, capable of destruction and creation. Yet after centuries of exile, they had chosen a different path, one of understanding, not vengeance. Prepare our diplomatic channel, Rhea said finally. We will speak to them face to face. Haru hesitated. Do you trust them, Captain? Rhea's lips curved in a faint smile. Trust must start somewhere. And if we want peace, someone has to take the first step. Let it be us. Outside, the stars stretched endlessly. The human fleet glowed softly like a constellation reborn. The galaxy that once destroyed Earth was now watching, silent, anxious, and unsure. For the first time in centuries, they realized something powerful. Humanity had returned, and this time they were not the same. The message from Captain Rhea Solon echoed across the galaxy for days. Every major world replayed it, studied it, and argued about it. Some called it a threat. Others said it was a call for peace. But everyone agreed on one thing. Humanity had returned, and nothing would ever be the same again. On Caltrian Prime, the heart of the Galactic Council, tension filled the air. The 12 members of the Council gathered again in their great chamber. Light streamed through tall crystal windows, making the room glow like a star, but the faces of the councillors were dark with worry. Councillor Marath spoke first, his voice calm but firm. You all saw the broadcast. The humans survived. They have built fleets, worlds, and technology we do not understand. We must face them and not hide. The Zorth delegate clicked his mandibles, his anger clear. Face them? After what happened last time? You were not there, Marath. You did not see what humans could do. They challenged our authority, broke the treaties, and refused to obey the Council. That is why they were destroyed. A tall golden being from the Lorian Empire rose slowly. Destroyed? She repeated softly. Is that what we call it now? We wiped out a world, not an army. We silenced billions. The chamber went quiet. Even the Zorth delegate turned away. Marath nodded gravely. We must accept the truth of what was done. And now they have come back. We cannot change the past. But we can decide what kind of future we face. Meanwhile, aboard the Resolute Dawn, Captain Rhea stood before a holographic screen that showed the star map of the galactic core. Her officers surrounded her, each one watching as new communication signals appeared, messages from hundreds of species. Some offered welcome, others warned them to stay away. "Captain," said Lieutenant Haru, "we've received a formal response from the Galactic Council. They request a meeting on GalacticPrime." Rhea looked at the screen for a long moment. "After 3 centuries," she said softly, "they finally wish to talk. Do we trust them?" Haru asked. Rhea turned to face him. "Trust must be earned. But if we want peace, we cannot fear every hand that reaches toward us." The Resolute Dawn and 2 escort ships jumped through hyperspace. The journey to GalacticPrime took 6 days. Along the way, they passed dozens of worlds, each one different, each one watching. Alien ships followed them from a distance, recording their movements. Some even tried to hail them, curious to see a human in real time. Everywhere they went, Rhea's fleet inspired both awe and unease. Children on far colonies pointed to the sky and said, "The humans have come back." Old veterans whispered to each other, "It's impossible." They were gone forever, but humanity had not vanished. They had rebuilt, stronger than before, their technology powered by unity and experience. When they reached GalacticPrime, the sight before them was breathtaking. The planet glowed like a jewel, covered in tall towers of crystal and silver, floating bridges and shimmering transport lines. Around it orbited thousands of ships, each from a different species. The Resolute Dawn entered orbit under escort. "Captain," the comms officer said, "the Council has granted permission to land. They've cleared Dock 6 at the Central Spire." Rhea nodded. "Prepare the landing team. I'll meet them myself." The shuttle descended through the bright clouds, passing shining cities that stretched across continents. Citizens of every race looked up, watching as the human shuttle came into view. It was the first time in 300 years that anyone had seen a human in person. When the shuttle doors opened, Captain Rhea Solon stepped out. She wore a white uniform trimmed with silver, her rank symbol glowing softly on her chest. The air smelled of clean ozone and flowers, strange and familiar all at once. A group of council guards waited for her. Their leader, a tall, blue-skinned being named Saral, greeted her politely. "Captain Solon, the council welcomes you to GalacticPrime." Rhea inclined her head. "Thank you, Commander. I come in peace." Saral studied her face carefully. There was no fear in her eyes, only calm determination. He respected that. "This way," he said, leading her through the shining corridors of the council hall. Inside the grand chamber, thousands of observers filled the galleries. News drones hovered silently, recording every moment. The 12 counselors sat in a circle at the center, waiting. When Rhea entered, a deep silence spread across the room. Every eye turned to her, a human standing once again in the very place where her kind had been condemned centuries ago. Counselor Mareth spoke first. "Captain Rhea Solon of the United Human Systems, you stand before the Galactic Council. You have returned after 3 centuries. What is it you seek?" Rhea's voice was steady. "The truth," she said simply, "and justice for what was done to our people." A murmur rippled through the crowd. The Zorith delegate leaned forward. "You accuse the council of wrongdoing. Do you have proof?" Rhea met his gaze. "You erased our history, destroyed our records, and scattered our people. But you cannot erase memory. Every surviving colony remembers what happened. You feared our progress and decided we were too independent to control. So you called us dangerous, and you made sure no one would ever hear from us again." The Lorian representative's eyes softened. "You speak with anger, but also truth. The council did act out of fear. The humans grew fast and too fast for others to understand. But that fear blinded us." Rhea nodded. "We were never a threat. We only wanted to share, to learn, but we were punished for dreaming too far." The chamber was silent again. Even the Zorith delegate could not answer. Counselor Mareth spoke quietly. "What do you want now, Captain Solon? Revenge?" Rhea shook her head. "No, humanity does not come for revenge. We come for recognition. For the right to stand among you as equals, not as ghosts of the past." Her words echoed through the hall. Many delegates exchanged glances, uncertain. Outside the chamber, thousands gathered in the public square. The meeting was being broadcast live. Species from across the stars watched the human captain speak with calm dignity. On distant worlds, the reaction was mixed. Some cheered, saying, "The humans speak for justice." Others whispered in fear. If they survived, what else might they have built in secret? But one thing was clear. The humans were not the monsters the council once claimed. After the session, Rhea was escorted to a private chamber where Counselor Marath awaited her. He stood by a wide window overlooking the glowing city below. "You speak wisely, Captain," he said softly. "Many here will not admit it, but they are afraid, not of your weapons, but of your truth." Rhea joined him by the window. "Fear is natural," she said, "but the truth can heal if one is brave enough to face it." Marath looked at her thoughtfully. "You remind me of the first human ambassador I met long ago. They too believed in peace. I wish the galaxy had listened then." Rhea smiled faintly. "Perhaps now they finally will." Later that night, aboard the Resolute Dawn, the crew gathered to review the day's events. The young officers were filled with hope. "Captain," Haru said, "you did what no one thought possible. You stood before the council and they listened." Rhea shook her head. "They listened, yes. But whether they will act, that remains to be seen." She looked out the window at GalacticPrime, glowing against the stars. "Tomorrow they will debate our request. The galaxy will decide whether we belong or not." Haru hesitated. "And if they say no?" Rhea's eyes hardened slightly. "Then we will still stand, because no one can take away what we have become." Far away in the shadows of space, a mysterious figure watched the transmission. His ship was old, its hull scarred from ancient battles. He was neither human nor council-aligned, a wanderer perhaps, or something more. As Rhea's speech ended, he smiled quietly. "So the children of Earth return," he murmured. "The galaxy will tremble again, not from war, but from truth." He turned off the screen and vanished into the darkness of the stars. On GalacticPrime, dawn broke over the shining towers. The council was preparing for its greatest decision in centuries, whether to welcome humanity back or to repeat the mistakes of the past. Captain Rhea Solon stood ready. Whatever the answer, she knew one thing for certain. Humanity had already changed the galaxy simply by returning, and the shadows of the past were finally beginning to fade. The dawn that rose over GalacticPrime was unlike any other. It was quiet, heavy, and uncertain. For the first time in 3 centuries, the Galactic Council faced a decision that could change the future of every world. The return of humanity had shaken the galaxy. No one had expected it. A race believed to be gone forever, now standing proud before the very council that once condemned them. Captain Rhea Solon's calm and brave words had spread faster than light itself. Across star systems, people were talking about the humans. Were they heroes who had survived the impossible, or were they a threat that might rise again? No one agreed, but everyone was watching. In the council hall, preparations for the final meeting were underway. Thousands gathered to witness history. Reporters from distant planets sent live feeds back home. Counselor Marath sat quietly at his desk, reviewing the humans' proposal once more. The document was simple, a declaration asking for recognition of the united human systems as a sovereign member of the galaxy, with equal rights and responsibilities under the Council Charter. Marath's thoughts were troubled. He had seen many worlds rise and fall, but never had he seen such determination as in the eyes of Captain Rhea Solon. She carried the weight of an entire race. And somehow, she carried it with grace. The door slid open. Rhea entered wearing the same white and silver uniform. Her expression was calm, but her eyes were sharp with purpose. "Counselor Marath," she said softly, "you wanted to speak before the session?" Marath nodded. "Yes, Captain. You must know the council is divided. Some wish to welcome you, others fear what you represent." "I expected that," Rhea replied. "Fear is natural. But fear cannot guide justice." Marath smiled faintly. "You sound like someone I once knew, a human ambassador long ago." "She said the same words before?" He stopped himself, his voice fading. "Before the purge?" Rhea asked quietly. Marath nodded, shame in his eyes. "Yes, before that dark day. Many of us believed we were protecting the galaxy from chaos. We were wrong. And I will not make that mistake again." Rhea's expression softened. "Then perhaps this time we can build something better." The council chamber opened soon after. Every delegate was present. The Zorith, the Lorian, the Varl, the Thalkir, and the rest. 12 great powers, each watching humanity closely. The galleries above were filled with observers, ambassadors, and civilians. The moment was being broadcast to billions. Counselor Marath rose from his seat. We are gathered to decide whether the United Human Systems shall be recognized as an independent member of this galaxy. Their captain, Rhea Solon, will now speak. Rhea stepped forward into the center of the circle. The air shimmered with light as the holographic recording began. Her voice was calm and steady. 3 centuries ago, she said, the Council judged humanity unfit to exist among the stars. We were exiled and forgotten, but humanity did not fade. We rebuilt in silence. We learned, we grew, and we remembered who we were. We do not seek to rule. We do not seek revenge. We seek only what was once promised, the right to live, to build, and to be heard. She paused, letting her words settle. The galaxy is large enough for all of us. The mistakes of the past must not shape the peace of tomorrow. Her sincerity touched many hearts. Even those who once doubted her found it hard to deny the strength in her voice. Then came the questions. The Zorith delegate rose sharply. You speak of peace, Captain Solon, but what of your weapons? Your ships? Your hidden worlds? The Council has seen the power of your fleet. How can we believe you do not plan to use it against us? Rhea looked directly at him. Our strength exists because of you. You taught us what fear can do when we learned to survive it. But survival does not mean aggression. Our technology is meant to protect, not to conquer. The Resolute Dawn and her fleet are symbols of endurance, not war. The Lorian representative stood next. Captain Solon, the humans have achieved much in isolation. Your people mastered light-bending ships and neural systems unseen before. Would you share this knowledge with the Council? Rhea nodded. We will share knowledge, but only in trust. True exchange cannot happen if one side hides in fear. Marath observed quietly, studying the reactions. Some counselors whispered among themselves, uncertain. Then, unexpectedly, a voice from the gallery shouted, "Let them in!" It came from a merchant from the Free Systems, one of the independent observers. The humans deserve a place here. They earned it. The hall rippled with noise. Others began to cheer. The sound of hope filled the chamber. Marath smiled faintly. He could feel history turning before his eyes. After the session, the council called for a recess to vote in private. Rhea and her officers waited in a smaller chamber nearby. The room was quiet except for the soft hum of energy from the city outside. Haru paced restlessly. "Captain, what if they refuse us?" "Then we keep moving forward," Rhea replied simply. "Recognition is not the same as respect. We'll earn both in time." Another officer, Commander Leon, looked out the window. "Do you think the galaxy will ever see us as equals?" Rhea smiled gently. "Maybe not today, but one day, yes. Because humanity never gives up. That is our promise. To ourselves and to the stars." Her words filled the room with quiet strength. It was the same strength that had carried their ancestors through exile and hardship. Hours later, the council returned. The chamber filled again with tension. The vote had been cast. Every eye turned to Marath as he rose to speak. "The council has deliberated," he began slowly. "The decision was not easy, but the majority has agreed." He paused. The silence was so deep that even the air seemed to stop. "To recognize the United Human Systems as a sovereign member of the Galactic Council." The chamber erupted in sound, some cheering, some protesting. The Zorith delegate slammed his desk in anger, but the voices of approval overpowered him. Rhea stood still for a moment, absorbing the words. Then she bowed her head slightly. "Thank you, counselors. Humanity will honor this trust. We will be a force for peace, not fear." Marath smiled. "May this be the beginning of a new chapter." Outside, the news spread instantly. Across 1,000 worlds, people celebrated. Humans were no longer ghosts or myths. They were real, alive, and equal once again. In distant colonies, human children looked up at the stars and felt pride for the first time. On alien worlds, artists painted the image of the human fleet as a symbol of courage and rebirth, but not everyone celebrated. In a dark meeting room on a hidden station, the Zorith delegate spoke to others who shared his anger. "The council has made a grave mistake," he hissed. "Humans will not bring peace, they will bring ruin." Another shadowed figure answered, "Then we will prepare. If the humans rise too high, we will make sure they fall again." The seeds of doubt were not gone. They were only waiting. Back on the Resolute Dawn, the crew gathered on the bridge as fireworks from GalacticPrime's surface lit up the sky. The light shimmered through the ship's windows like golden rain. Lieutenant Haru turned to Rhea, smiling widely. Captain, we did it. We're part of the council again. Rhea nodded. Yes, but this is only the beginning. Now we must prove that we deserve our place, through honor, not power. Commander Leon asked, "Where do we go next?" Rhea looked at the stars, her expression thoughtful. "Home," she said softly. "To Earth." The word hung in the air, quiet and sacred. For most of them, Earth was only a story, a dream passed down through generations. But now it was time to return. Haru whispered, "Do you think there's anything left?" Rhea smiled faintly. "Even if there's nothing, we'll rebuild. That's what humans do. That's the iron promise of our kind, will we rise again." As the fleet prepared for departure, the galaxy watched. For the first time in ages, there was hope, fragile but bright. Humanity had not come to conquer. They had come to remind the stars of something they had forgotten long ago. That courage and compassion were stronger than fear. And as the resolute dawn turned toward the forgotten path leading back to the Sol system, the galaxy itself seemed to hold its breath. The humans were coming home. The galaxy had paused. For weeks after humanity was recognized by the Galactic Council, every world felt the weight of its return. Ships that had been patrolling distant sectors now turned their sensors toward the known human colonies. Merchants, diplomats, and explorers all whispered the same words. Humans are back. Captain Rhea Solon felt the same tension on the bridge of the Resolute Dawn. She stood near the starboard window, watching the black void of space lit by distant suns. Her fleet surrounded her, smaller but no less determined, each ship ready for any challenge. Lieutenant Haru approached quietly. "Captain, reports are coming in. Some systems are refusing our trade agreements. Certain council members want a second vote to reconsider recognition. Others are questioning our loyalty." Rhea nodded slowly. "I expected this. Humanity did not vanish quietly. Our return reminds them of old mistakes. Fear does not disappear overnight." Commander Leon, standing at the navigation console, added, "There are rumors that some of the old powers are secretly preparing fleets, not to attack us but to test us. They want to see if we will react violently." Rhea's gaze hardened. "Let them come. We will meet them with truth, not aggression. Remember, we are here to prove our honor, not our weapons." The first challenge came from the distant system of TIVRA-Prime, a world rich in resources and strategic ports. The Tivran delegates refused to acknowledge trade agreements, claiming humanity's fleet might disrupt their control over nearby sectors. Rhea decided to respond personally. She and her team traveled to Tivra aboard a single shuttle. The atmosphere on the planet was heavy with suspicion. Massive towers of silver and bronze stretched skyward, reflecting the harsh red sun. Tivran guards, their armor glinting, lined every street. In the council hall of Tivra, delegates waited, arms crossed, eyes sharp. "Captain Solon," said the lead Tivran delegate Vorak, his voice cold, "we have heard of your so-called accomplishments. You survived where you were meant to fail. You now demand recognition and respect. Why should we trust you?" Rhea met his gaze steadily. "Because we have nothing to gain from conflict. Our goal is simple: cooperation and peace. Every system can benefit from humanity's knowledge. We come as allies, not conquerors." Vorak leaned forward. "Words are easy. Actions are another matter. Your fleet is powerful. A single human attack could destroy this system. We must know your intentions." Rhea raised her hand. "Then let us prove it. Allow our scientists to assist your engineers. Share our technologies openly. Allow us to demonstrate that humanity's strength is for creation, not destruction." The chamber was silent. Tivran faces were skeptical, but some younger delegates whispered among themselves, intrigued by the offer. After hours of discussion, a tentative agreement was reached. Humans would assist Tivra in resource management and transport systems. It was small, but it was a start. Rhea had turned suspicion into collaboration. News of the Tivra agreement spread quickly. Across the galaxy, other worlds watched, some with hope, some with anger. Certain factions, still bitter from past wars with humanity, began to plot behind closed doors. Back aboard the Resolute Dawn, Rhea's fleet returned to orbit. She addressed her crew on the bridge. "Our work has begun," she said. "Every system we touch is a test, not of our strength but of our integrity. If we remain honest, patient, and true, the galaxy will learn that humans are not the threat they feared." "They are partners," Lieutenant Haru nodded. "Captain, I hope the galaxy is ready for that lesson." Rhea smiled faintly. "It will be, one world at a time." However, not all challenges were political. In the outskirts of the Andari expanse, a mysterious fleet appeared. They did not hail the humans or signal their presence. Their ships were old, angular, and worn, yet they moved with precision. Observers from the Council speculated that these were remnants of the ancient alliance that once tried to erase humanity, a secret force still active in the shadows. Rhea studied the fleet's movements carefully. "They are testing us," she said. "But they are not here to destroy. If they wanted war, they would not hide." Haru frowned. "Should we engage them, Captain?" "No," Rhea said firmly. "We do not provoke those we do not understand. Prepare defenses, but do not attack. Watch, learn, and be ready to show them who we are without violence." The mysterious fleet shadowed the humans for days. Sensors picked up their patrol patterns, their signals faint but intentional. Rhea's fleet mirrored them cautiously, never giving cause for suspicion. Finally, the unknown fleet retreated without incident. "Curious," Haru said. "They could have attacked us at any moment." Rhea shook her head. "Curiosity is more powerful than fear. They learned something about us, that humanity does not strike without reason. That is a lesson the galaxy must learn." Meanwhile, back on Caltrian Prime, the Council debated vigorously. Some species wanted to revoke recognition, claiming humanity's return was destabilizing the balance of power. Others argued that the humans' calm, measured actions had already prevented potential conflicts from exploding into war. Mareth addressed the chamber. "The humans are not asking for dominance. They are asking for trust. We must decide if the galaxy is capable of offering it." The Zorith delegate remained defiant. "We should not forget the past. Humans destroyed our colonies and defied the Council's authority. Their survival is an accident of luck." "Accident?" asked Mareth, voice rising slightly. "They survived because they learned, adapted, and remained united. That is not luck. That is courage. That is a lesson we could all benefit from." For a moment, silence fell. Even those opposed could not deny the truth. Humanity had survived where others would have failed, and they had done so without repeating the mistakes that caused their near extinction. Captain Rhea received word from a remote world called Valsera, a planet rich in rare minerals but historically hostile to outsiders. The Valseran Council demanded a demonstration of humanity's intentions. Rhea decided on a bold plan. She and her fleet traveled to the planet and offered to help rebuild infrastructure damaged by storms. In a display of technological skill and care, humans repaired water distribution systems, stabilized energy grids, and assisted local scientists in forecasting weather patterns. By the end of the week, the Valserans had changed their opinion. They invited humanity to share in their trade and councils. "You have shown patience and respect," said the Valseran leader. "Perhaps we misjudged you. Perhaps humanity is worthy," Rhea smiled. "We are all learning together." Yet not every encounter was simple. Certain council members still plotted in shadows, fearful that humans could rise too high too quickly. Messages were intercepted, warning of secret fleets gathering in remote sectors. The whispers reached Rhea through intelligence reports. She gathered her top officers in the strategy room aboard the Resolute Dawn. "We know some factions are afraid," she said. "They want to see us react with aggression. We will not give them that satisfaction. Our mission is truth, not violence. Watch them. Understand them. But do not strike unless necessary." Haru frowned. "What if they attack anyway?" Rhea's eyes softened, but her tone was firm. "Then we will defend ourselves. But remember, and every action we take is a reflection of humanity. Strength without honor is meaningless. We do not act out of fear. We act out of principle." Her words echoed in the room, settling the nerves of her officers. As the Resolute Dawn continued its mission, word of humanity's deeds spread throughout the galaxy. They became symbols of endurance, wisdom, and unity. Scientists, engineers, and diplomats spoke of human methods, not weapons. Artists painted their fleet. Children wrote songs about their courage. And philosophers debated the morality and patience shown by the returning race. Even those who had once feared humans began to reconsider. Their actions demonstrated that strength could be gentle, courage could be patient, and survival could be guided by honor. Late one night, Rhea stood on the observation deck, staring at the stars stretching endlessly before her. Haru joined her quietly. "You've changed the galaxy, Captain," he said softly. "One system at a time." Rhea nodded, her gaze distant. "We've only begun. The trial is not over. The galaxy is still learning to trust us. But step by step, world by world, we show them that humanity keeps its promises. Its iron promises. Haru smiled. Then we keep moving forward. Yes, Rhea said. We move forward. And when the galaxy finally sees who we truly are, it will know that humanity's return was not a threat, but a gift. Outside, the stars shimmered, reflecting the endless potential of the human fleet. The galaxy held its breath, watching as the lost Earth children rebuilt not only their place among the stars, but the very hope that had been lost for centuries. The galaxy waited. For the first time in 300 years, the stars themselves seemed to hold their breath. Humanity had returned not with swords or fire, but with courage, wisdom, and patience. Every world that had resisted now watched with curiosity. Every council member, even those who had doubted, now felt the weight of a new reality. Captain Rhea Solon stood aboard the Resolute Dawn, orbiting the neutral planet of Caltrian Prime. Her fleet shimmered around her, a constellation of light in the darkness of space. The council had summoned her one final time, a meeting to decide not just the fate of humanity, but the balance of the entire galaxy. Lieutenant Haru approached quietly. Captain, the council is ready for you. They're expecting a full statement from the United Human Systems. Rhea nodded. Then let us remind them of who we are. Not as conquerors, not as survivors, but as humans. The grand chamber was packed. Delegates from every major species of the galaxy filled their seats, along with representatives from neutral systems. Holographic screens above the chamber displayed ships and colonies across the stars, all watching. Billions of eyes were focused on this single moment, the moment humanity claimed its place among the stars. Counselor Marath spoke first. Captain Rhea Solon, you have led your people with courage and patience. You have proven that humans are more than the ghosts of a forgotten world. We have seen your actions. Now speak and tell us what humanity desires for the galaxy. Rhea stepped forward. Her voice was calm, steady, carrying across the chamber into every corner of space. The United Human Systems do not come seeking dominance. We do not demand vengeance. Humanity's return is not about power. It is about partnership. The galaxy can be greater when all its inhabitants learn to trust, to share, and to build together. A murmur swept through the chamber. Some delegates nodded. Others whispered to one another, uncertain yet intrigued. We have lived in silence for centuries, Rhea continued. We have rebuilt our worlds, honed our skills, and learned patience. And now, we offer the galaxy what we have learned. That strength is not measured by weapons alone, but by courage, wisdom, and honor. We seek to create, to heal, to guide, not to destroy. The Zorith delegate rose sharply, anger flashing in his eyes. Captain Solon, words are easy. The council remembers your ancestors. Humans fought fiercely even against reason. How do we know your promises are true? Rhea met his gaze steadily. Because we do not ask you to believe blindly. Watch us, observe our actions. Let your own experiences tell you who we are. We will earn trust every day, not demand it once. For a moment, the chamber fell silent. Even the Zorith delegate could not reply. Counselor Marath spoke again. The galaxy has been shaken by your return, Captain. Some fear change. Others embrace it. But the evidence is clear. Humanity has chosen honor over vengeance. Today we face a choice, to continue old fears or to move forward together. Outside the chamber, millions of people watched the broadcast. Humans, aliens, and neutral species alike. Some were inspired, some were anxious, but all were captivated. Stories of the human fleet, of colonies rebuilt in secret, of diplomacy and courage, spread across systems like starlight. On a small planet at the edge of the Orion expanse, children pointed to the sky and whispered, "The humans are coming." Their eyes sparkled with hope, hope they had never known. Within the chamber, the final vote began. The 12 great powers cast their decisions one by one. Some voted with hesitation. Others voted confidently. The count was close. Every delegate felt the weight of history pressing down on them. Finally, Counselor Marath rose to announce the result. His eyes glimmered with emotion. The United Human Systems are officially recognized as a sovereign and equal member of the Galactic Council. A wave of sound filled the chamber. Cheers erupted, applause echoed. Delegates stood, some in relief, others in admiration. The Zorith delegate, though still scowling, lowered his head slightly, the corners of his mouth twitching with something like respect. Rhea allowed herself a small smile. "Thank you," she said simply. "Humanity will honor this trust. We will be worthy of it." Celebrations erupted across human colonies and allied worlds. Cities shone with light. Fireworks painted alien skies. For the first time, humans were no longer forgotten. They were no longer ghosts. They were known, respected, and welcomed. In distant corners of the galaxy, some old rivals still muttered in anger. But even they could not deny what had been accomplished. Humanity had returned not to conquer but to unite. Back on the resolute Dawn, Rhea gathered her officers. The bridge hummed with energy. "Our mission is not over," she said. "Recognition is just the beginning. The galaxy must learn to trust us every day through action, not words. Every colony, every fleet, every diplomat will carry the message of humanity's honor." Haru nodded. "Captain, do you think we'll ever face real hostility again?" "Perhaps," Rhea replied. "But fear is no longer our enemy. The real challenge is guiding the galaxy toward understanding. That is the true test," Commander Leon smiled. "Then we keep moving forward." "Yes," Rhea said. "Forward. Toward Earth, toward our home, and toward a galaxy that can finally remember what humanity stands for." And so the human fleet set its course for the Sol system. Every ship carried not just crew and supplies, but hope. Hope for reconciliation, hope for discovery, and hope for the future. Along the way, humans shared knowledge with allied systems, helping to rebuild war-torn planets, assisting in scientific research, and teaching younger civilizations how to avoid the mistakes of the past. Humanity's presence became a light in the darkness, a symbol of courage, unity, and perseverance. Even those who had doubted them began to change. Zorith engineers learned human methods of energy efficiency. Lorian diplomats observed the patience and calm of human negotiation. Entire sectors began to adopt the human philosophy that strength is measured not by what one can destroy, but by what one can protect and nurture. Captain Rhea often stood at the observation deck gazing at the stars. She thought of the ancestors of her people, the ones who had walked on Earth, who had dreamed of the stars even as the galaxy turned against them. "We have kept our promise," she whispered, "and now the galaxy will keep theirs." Lieutenant Haru approached. "Captain, look at this." He pointed to a nearby display. It showed a vast network of communication signals. Humans, aliens, and independent systems all connected. The galaxy was talking again, sharing knowledge, learning from each other. Growing together, Rhea smiled. "The trial is over. Humanity has proven its worth, and the galaxy is beginning to see us as we truly are." On Caltrian Prime, Counselor Marath watched the human fleet depart. He turned to the assembled delegates. "Today, history has changed. Humanity has returned not as a threat, not as a conqueror, but as a teacher of endurance, courage, and honor. Let us remember that the past may guide us, but it does not control us. Today we start anew." Even the Zorith delegate remained silent, contemplative. For the first time in centuries, he considered the possibility that humans could be allies rather than adversaries. In the far reaches of space, the mysterious observer who had once shadowed the human fleet smiled quietly. "So the children of Earth have returned," he murmured. "And the galaxy listens. Not in fear, but in respect." He turned his ship and disappeared into the stars, leaving humanity to its destiny. As the resolute Dawn approached the Sol system, the crew caught the first glimpses of their ancestral home. Blue oceans sparkled, green forests stretched across continents, and the sun shone warmly over mountains and valleys. It was more than a world. It was a promise fulfilled. It was the beginning of a new chapter for all humanity. Rhea gazed at the horizon.
"Home," she whispered.
"And from here we will continue, not to rule, not to avenge, but to inspire. The galaxy will remember us not for what we lost, but for what we became." Haru stood beside her. "Captain, do you think the galaxy will ever forget this?" Rhea smiled faintly, her eyes reflecting the light of the sun. "No," she said softly. "From this day forward, every star, every world, every life will know that humans endured. And when they do, the galaxy will never be the same again." Outside the window, the stars shimmered. Across countless systems, life looked to the sky, wondering what the future would bring. And for the first time in centuries, the answer was clear. Humanity had returned, and the galaxy had finally learned that they were not to be feared, but to be admired, respected, and remembered.